Hey, let me ask you a question. Who's your favorite creator in GD? Maybe it's somebody more OG like Serpunge or Michigan, or maybe it's somebody more recent like Blee. Well, I know I have one, and that person is Karma L. Karma L, yes, that's how it's pronounced, is my favorite creator in this entire game. From his extremely unique gameplay to his very memorable decoration style, I truly think nobody was doing it like him at the time. Karma L just blows me away with every level he makes. Okay, maybe not that one. But one thing about Karma L is most of his levels are really hard. Like, really, really hard. So to most people, just beating a few of his levels is good enough. But no, that's not good enough for me. I want to beat them all. And not just the rated ones. All of them. And you know what? Even that is not enough. I'm also going to be getting every single coin. Oh no. At first I didn't think this would be possible, but I had no idea the journey I was taking myself on. I started beating his levels more than a year ago, and now I can say that I have completed them all. Now the way that this is going to work is I'm going to order all of the levels from easiest to hardest, and each level is going to have a little bit of commentary before I show the completion, which will include things like thoughts I have on a level, things that happened while I was beating it, my worst fail, what I think the hardest part is, and an overall rating out of 10. This video is probably going to be very long, but I would appreciate it if you watched the whole way through, because this video took me a while to make. Anyways, I guess let's get to the video. Warning, this video contains extreme amounts of glazing and may be inappropriate for S-tier haters. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so, so the first one is, make you Fireflower. And, what am I supposed to say? Like, okay, so this level's obviously a shitpost. He basically copied it from what I'm assuming is a level in the recent tab, and he added his own icon. Now the reason this is first is because you literally can't die on this level, and all you do is hold right. It is a platformer level, and literally all you do is hold right. So yeah, this is the easiest one, and I think you'll be surprised to hear that my worst fail was nothing, and the hardest part is nothing. And I'm giving this a question mark out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
This is a self-portrait I drew.
Bruh.
It's my favorite. This is my favorite art piece.
World record.
Is that it? No.
Alright, so the next level is another joke level, but it actually has effort put into it, albeit not very much of it. Hungry Humphrey. In this level, you meet a disembodied face that talks to you about eating. And then they eat the level. Yeah, that's the level. Despite basically being a layout with some effects and an entire digestive tract at the end, it is surprisingly rated. Or unsurprisingly, I mean, it's a Karma L level, what do you expect? I think this is probably one of the most popular rated joke levels, and I'm glad it is. Honestly, I love this level. My worst fail was 36, which is to the UFO, and I think the hardest part of this level is 32 to 39, which is the entire UFO. That part isn't really hard, but it is harder than the rest of the level. And as for a rating, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10. It gets some points for being funny, and the realistic art is cool, but yeah, you can't really expect much more out of this level. Okay, let's beat this in one attempt.
Alright. Okay. Put that at 49. Okay.
That's over.
Dude,
What?
This
That
wave is
one part-
impossible.
My grandma just removed my mom from the family group chat.
What?
What?
Uh-oh.
No.
Epic family controversy.
Controversy.
The family situation is crazy.
I need that moist critical video right now.
I don't have a family group chat because they'd have to like invent a new like type of phone
What?
that stores infinite data in order to
Oh my
contain my
god.
family.
What is happening there?
I
Oh
don't have a
wait!
family group chat because if they did, I'd just leave it. I could care less what they have to say.
Love and Pony Step comes out tomorrow.
I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. Like, actually tomorrow.
Oh.
It
okay,
comes out at 10 p.m. tomorrow.
Comes out right in the middle of my fucking closing shift. God damn it.
Like, on streaming?
No, I'm pretty sure it comes out after that. The premiere is.
Premiere is like 10
10
p.m. tomorrow or something. At least for me.
I suck a lot.
I'm so excited, bro.
For what? Let's go back.
Love and Pony Step is coming out in 24
Oh,
hours.
really? I still haven't heard any of the singles.
I haven't heard any of the singles because I'm waiting for it to come out because I think I'm gonna really like it.
Yeah.
I'm not
What did you
confident I'll like
give?
it, but I
I'm
want to
just
listen.
curious. What did
It's
you give
very
Cutie
interesting.
Marks, Andrew?
I gave it a large intestine out of 10.
That must be really good.
No, I think I gave it like a 6 or a 7. Probably a 6.
Good to know.
So the third level is surprisingly not a joke level. Well, kinda. This is Alive. This is Karma's first rated level, and the story goes like this. Back in 2.0, when Karma wasn't that good at creating, there was an achievement added that was got by getting one of your levels rated. So he devised a plan to verify someone's level for them and put it on his account with their permission. So that's exactly what he did, except he didn't want to just upload someone else's level, so he made it a collab by adding his part at the end. And what's his part? Well, it's this. An invisible one-block straight fly. So, to an extent, this level is a joke level. But anyways, yeah. My worst fail on this level was 96. What a surprise. And the hardest part is 96 to 98. What a surprise. For this level, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Nothing really special, and it gets a bonus point for having a straight fly at the end, which is pretty funny.
Oh no. Everyone hide.
What's up?
Hi, Logan.
Hold on.
I'm Logan. Logan, don't forget. Don't forget. I'm not gonna tell you what not to forget, but you should know what I'm talking about. Okay. He's trying to like get in the storage room doing you know what. Okay, the reason why I still like
Okay, well, we have yet another joke level! Okay, clearly when this guy makes shitpost levels, he doesn't want to verify some crazy extreme, which is understandable, but that means the beginning of this video is basically going to be entirely joke levels. This is Old Lady, and... Dude, seriously, what am I supposed to say about this? Old Lady is an old deleted Karma level that was re-uploaded, and it's basically a small challenge that uses this,
Maria! Maria!
Yeah. The song ends halfway into the level, so you're basically left in silence to think about what you just heard while playing the rest of the level. A fun fact about this completion is I found out at around 45 there's a group of speed portals that you can hit in a way where you can stay a faster speed. And the rest of the level is still possible at that speed, so if you hit it, you could beat the level way faster than usual. So I made a joke that I would have the fastest completion of Old Lady, but I missed it on the winning attempt. Whatever. My worst fail on this level was 34, which was because I forgot there was a pillar there. And I think the hardest part of this level is 86 to 92, which is this pink orb part where you have to not hit the spikes above you and then kind of do a weird double click thing at the end to fall into the gap at 92. I'm gonna give this a
Maria!
out of 10. Yeah.
Maria! Maria, can you come over here? I'm so old, I can't brush my feet. Oh, there's so much dirt because I'm so old. Can you come over here and use your young, soft little hands and brush the dirt off my old feet because I'm such an old woman? Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, let's just get straight to the point. Big Boned. Another joke level. Short challenge. Pretty hard. Worst fail was 31. The hardest part is 0 to 12. And I'm gonna give this level a, yeah, whatever, out of 10. And I will add there's a flashing lights warning for this level because of the UFO. Okay, I promise this is the last joke level for a while, but this one is actually really good, trust me. Don't rate this level. So, despite the level's name, you guessed it, it's rated. This level is a parody of early 2.0 levels and makes fun of all the trends happening back then. Honestly, some of the humor still holds up even to this day.
Take to the sky.
But it's just the small details in this level that make it great. Like, for example, the jump at 12 seems simple, but it's actually secretly very annoying. If you try to let the slope take you and then land, you'll hit the spike. And if you try to jump early, you'll still hit the spike. So you have to wait till you're at the end of the slope to jump. And not even 5% later we have something very similar. Seems like a simple auto part, right? Well, sometimes. But if you jump at the right time, it bugs out and you fly into the pillar above. Even the coins in this level are terrible. It's details like this that just make this the most frustrating level ever, which is perfect for the theme of the level, and it makes it a hilarious experience. And don't even get me started on this transition, which is completely blind. And speaking of that transition, my worst fail on this level was 38, which is kinda crazy because next I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the hardest part. And if you've seen this level, you know exactly what part it is. The hardest part of this level is 97 and 98, which is a one-space wave consistency, which somehow I fluked. And I think that's the perfect grand finale for this level, honestly. I'm giving this level a 6 out of 10. I actually love this level, but I can't deny it's just a parody with minimal effort put into it, so I can't really give it any higher.
Why do I have stuck in my head? Time to listen to car seat headrest.
My God, no more stomach bug obsession.
Nah. Well, there it is. That's like Hypnopomp is still like 2/3 of all my listens. That's like today, but there are other things in there too.
Fair enough.
I did the nose hole.
Can I do this, please?
Okay, this level is so good and so bad at the same time. Like it's so fun, but it is awful. What did you die to?
I died to fucking spider.
Oh my. I'm not gonna lie, whenever you die to Spider, it doesn't feel like your fault. It's like the least your fault game mode ever.
Never my fault. Abstract Dark's part is tragedy.
The doom and despair. Yeah, I did it again.
Oh, dude, oh my goodness, that's terrible.
Pooping in my butt. Okay.
Did it again. Okay.
Will I do it? Yes, I will.
Yay.
I did that one attempt.
Okay, no fun allowed. I just did for fun. Click and die.
Alright, and we finally make it to a serious level. Steel Gear. This level is a Demon Mega Collab hosted by Shockzidian and Silence, verified by Karma L. And despite being made in 2.1, it is a pre-2.0 styled level, and I'd say they did a pretty good job. There are definitely some 2.1 elements like the spider and the black orbs and the red orbs, but they don't really feel out of place at all. And in my opinion, the designs still hold up today. The gameplay in this level is pretty interesting and fun, and there's not many choke points. But now let me talk about the completion. Me and my friends had this inside joke where we would try to make somebody die in a level by finding the most absurd synonyms for don't die to the spikes. And one of the ones we found was don't go belly up on the shank, which was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. So they basically just kept spamming Thesaurus at me at the end of the level to distract me. But it didn't work and I beat it. Anyways, I just thought that made for a pretty funny moment. But overall, this level is very learny, but very consistent, which means it takes a long time to learn, but once you get it down, you can beat it really quickly, which is exactly what happened. Before I started trying to beat Carmel levels, both Valor and Steel Gear were both insane demons, and I had never played either of them, so I just saw them as the same difficulty. But as you'll see later in the video, that is not the case at all. My worst fail on this level was 29. Yes, 29. And the hardest part of this level is the duel at 72 to 78, which I fluked. I'm gonna give this level a 6.5 out of 10. Not quite a 7, but I feel like it doesn't deserve the same rating as Don't Rate This Level. Steel Gear doesn't seem like a 2.1 level, but it is.
Yeah, once I get good at this ship, this level is actually cooked.
Or you can this level's getting chopped, right?
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, I just fluke it for me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I killed Smicicle in the.
There's
at
not
80.
many
I killed
obstacles.
Smicicle at 80 on Double Vortex because Tosh hacked it. In
Bro.
Steam DMs. Because he said, "Why is the last 70% so ass?"
I mean, everyone knows if they've looked at Steel Gear that there's not really many obstacles at this part.
Oh my god, dude.
Like, I see a large lack of obstacles and deadly monkey wrenches.
Don't go
What?
belly up on the shank.
Yeah.
Shut up, shut
Well,
up.
he won't because there's no obstacles here. Belly up on the shank.
Don't go belly up on the shank. Dude, that took me like 1 second compared to Valor. I fluked this from like 32 or something.
Belly on this shit.
Making a new scene.
I'm making a new.
And now we make it to Lit Fuse. Lit Fuse is a very special level. If you ask people what some of the most memorable levels of 2.0 were, Lit Fuse would definitely be a popular answer. There's just something about this level that makes it so legendary. One thing about Karma's levels is that he has absolutely perfected song representation, and this level is no exception. Especially this part at 34, where the pitch of the lead synth in the song corresponds to the height of the gap you're flying through. The higher the note, the higher you fly. The lower the note, the lower you fly. It's things like this that just make you appreciate this guy's creativity. It's like the song was made for the level. And speaking of the song, what a masterpiece. I'm glad this was the level that got people to notice Cocola's music because she is an amazing artist. Anyways, apparently Karma thinks this is one of his worst levels, which, I mean, I understand, I guess, because I can't deny some parts look a little empty or unfinished. But let me show you why I think this level is perfect as it is. There's a comment on the Lit Fuse verification video on YouTube that Karma L posted on his Twitter a while ago explaining it perfectly. And I'm gonna quote it here because it flawlessly encapsulates all my thoughts about this level. This level is a testament to how anyone, regardless of experience, can create a work of art that resonates with others. Cocola made the song when she was 15 in just about a week, and Karma L made the level in 3 days, probably around the same age. Two teenagers who had no idea what they were doing in a collective of 10 days would have their works come together to make one of the most iconic and beloved levels of this era. Perfectly said. I acknowledge the flaws in this level, but they are all charming in their own way and don't take away from the level, and I think doing a lot with a little is very important. I can't talk about this level without mentioning the drop, which to this day is one of the most impactful drops of any level ever. The suspense the previous parts create make the payoff that much more worth it. It's like an explosion of fireworks when you go up that slope into the UFO. Dude, it's fucking crazy. Now on to the gameplay. I love the gameplay in this level a lot. The beginning cube, while being one of the more harder parts of the level, it's actually extremely fun and satisfying to pull off. The gameplay gimmicks in this level are super unique to its time, like this part where you have to hit this green orb, but only after you become normal size so you can get enough distance to clear the spikes. And this chain of orbs at the beginning that you have to all hit in a certain way to make the gap. I could go on forever about this level, but this video would be even longer than it already is. My worst fail on this level was 96, which was not exactly my smartest decision ever, but yeah. And the hardest part of this level for me was 5 to 20, which I think most people would agree with. Oh yeah, one last thing I forgot to mention is due to 2.2, for some reason at 22, the structure that boosts you into the air kills you randomly, and as far as I can tell, it's completely random. So that kinda sucks. But it's random, so I can't blame him for not fixing it with the rest of his levels. Anyways, I'm giving this level a 9 out of 10. Almost perfect, and a level for the GD Hall of Fame if there ever was one. Oh, the thing killed me. That is like one of the only things in this entire game that is like actually truly random without a random trigger. Come on, don't have it happen this time. Yes. This has got to be it.
I gotta say, man, this level is so frustratingly balanced.
It's gotta be good. Sorry.
Really?
Alright, come on. I'm actually throwing if I die again. There you go. Alright. And now next up is the first of many invisible levels on his account, Invisible Clubstep. Ah, invisible levels. Don't they just look so invisible? Yeah, but not many people know that Karma did the other two RobTop demons invisible since they aren't rated like Invisible Deadlocked. This is the easiest invisible level on his account and the easiest invisible RobTop demon in my opinion. And this was the fastest that I beat an invisible level on his account. But it's probably partially because it was the last one I beat. Anyways, despite being completely invisible, this level is surprisingly fun. It's a fun process to learn certain strategies and audio cues that you can use, and not to mention you feel like an absolute god doing a level that you can't see at all. One thing about invisible levels, or just most memory levels, is that once you learn it, it becomes super consistent. And that was definitely the case for this one. I was getting past the pre-drop basically every attempt. And some of the only choke points in this level were the UFO at 52, which is infamously hard even in the normal club step. Although it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And also the ship at 73 was pretty hard. My worst fail on this level was 95, and it was a fluke from 59, which is kinda crazy. And I think the hardest part of this level is 85 to 90, even though I somehow didn't die there a single time. There are not many visual cues for this ship, like portals or audio cues with the song, so it feels kinda random. But apparently not, because I never died there. I'm giving this level a 5 out of 10. Even though it's just a copy of a RobTop level with an alpha trigger, it's still very impressive how he managed to complete a level like this almost 10 years ago, and it's a fun level to learn.
2x pin, P3x bait. Good luck.
Let's go.
GG!
Okay. That was out of nowhere. What?
My good luck worked.
It did. Yeah, 1,500 attempts. That's like 2,000 less than Toe 2.
That was a lot
You
easier.
can play low death.
Oh my god,
Yeah, you
I
can
can
play
play
low
low
death.
death.
You got 5 days.
What? Next, we have the most popular invisible level. Well, actually invisible level. Invisible Deadlocked. Invisible Deadlocked was the first invisible level I attempted, and it was honestly very scary at first. But once I started doing runs to the end, I started to realize it was feasible. And in less than 2 days, I actually did it. This is a very controversial level because it's rated. And most people think it shouldn't be rated due to just being a copy of a RobTop level with one trigger added. But I personally think it's much more than that. Karma verified this level himself as a challenge, and RobTop gave him a deal and said that he would rate it if he verified it. And sure enough, he did. Deadlocked was a fairly new level at the time, and people hadn't quite mastered it yet. But this guy destroyed the level completely invisible. And I think for the time, that level of skill deserves a reward, and I think a rate was fair. I know most people won't agree with me, but whatever. As for learning it, the level isn't that hard to get down, it's just very intimidating at first. For me, I eventually just started seeing the level. Like, I'm not even kidding, I played it so much that I just imagined Deadlocked while I was playing it. My worst fail on this level was, well, my worst fail was 98. Yeah. Normally for the last 2 jumps, I fall here and then hold to do the next 2 jumps. But I miscalculated and I didn't wait to fall. The hardest part of this level is the wave at 72 to 79. For this part, your memory can only do so much. Because of how wave works, this part is so much harder than everything else because you have nothing to go off of. When you're a cube or UFO or ball, you get visual feedback like landing on blocks, hitting orbs, hitting portals. But for the wave, you have to avoid everything, so you're basically doing a rough guess on where you think the walls are and hope you guess right. Because honestly, it's impractical to learn a click pattern since any small deviation from your click pattern would throw you off your path because of how wave works. But yeah, I'm gonna give this level a 5 out of 10, just like Invisible Clubstep for the same reasons.
They're like the reviewers, it doesn't time it. Turn off overlay for Geometry Dash, right? It kind of feels like this. Send me a friend request. Oh.
Let's fucking go!
Oh, you beat it?
Yeah.
Dude, I was really just about to look at your stream.
Wait, what were you playing,
Invisible Deadlocked. I rebeat it with all the coins.
bro?
Let's go.
The best player. Alright.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly stop the video to make a PSA. Dear RobTop, you only rate popular creators' levels, and there are tons of other— Anyways, the next level is, you guessed it, Message to RobTop. This level is a parody of those levels that used to go around talking about how RobTop only rates levels from already known creators and blah blah blah. Anyways, now we know that's not true, but this level flips that concept on its head and adds hard Insane Demon gameplay behind an actual heartfelt message to RobTop, thanking him for the game that he made. The gameplay in this level is super fun, but you can skip a lot of it, like this part where you're supposed to hit all of these orbs with portals, but I just hold the dash orb and skip most of them. Hitting only 2 of these 4 orbs, skipping most of the staircase, and some other ones I completely missed when I beat it. But whether it's intentional or not, I kind of like levels like that. It's like you can customize how you beat it and try whatever works for you. Like this maze at the end you can do in so many different ways. This is a very short level, but it doesn't seem like it for some reason. Maybe because of the highly condensed difficulty, you're dying so much to the beginning that you rarely ever make it to the drop. A fun fact about this completion is despite the text overlaying on top of the gameplay multiple times, I didn't even know what any of it said until I had 81, and I just decided to pay attention randomly. I really thought it just said the same stuff the other message drop top level said, but it was an actual genuine message. And because of that, this level actually feels like the video of the selective attention test where you have to keep track of how many times the ball is passed and you don't even notice the literal gorilla that passes through them all at one point. Anyways, my worst fail on this level was 81, because when I was spamming after this black orb, I hit my head on the ceiling and didn't go up fast enough. And the hardest part for me was this wave at 41 to 56. It's surprisingly hard to go through these gaps when some of the saw blades you can barely see, and not to mention the text on top of this mini wave part that transitions into a reverse wave which is even harder than the first one. I'm gonna give this level a 5 out of 10. Good gameplay, but it's kinda just nothing else. Let's fucking go, dude. This level's so fucking hard. Shout out my dog. The next level we have is, well, actually, I'm just gonna let the song say it for me. High is a decently hard Insane Demon that features a lot of dual gameplay. The pre-drop features a sync-based cube jump section, and then it ramps up slightly in difficulty to make it more interesting. The next part we go into a duel, which is pretty hard to get down, especially this part with the pad and orb above it, but it's not too bad. But then we get to this part which is almost entirely sync-based, and I say almost because you can ever so slightly see the upcoming jumps. But it's pretty hard to rely on unless you turn your gamma up on your monitor, which may or may not have been when I did. But I think this part is really cool. The only problem I have with it is the sync seems to be slightly off and it's a bit confusing, but maybe that's just me. But now we get to the drop, and holy does it spike in difficulty. This dual wave is so tight that basically everyone crosses their waves here. And personally, I don't like to cross my waves in duel at all, but it's just easier to do it here. This wave is a huge choke point and it killed me a lot. The next ball part is slightly easier, but still very, very hard. Especially these mini dual ball clicks, which are literally straight out of Sonic Wave. And then it's a UFO and robot, which get easier and easier as you go, so not too bad. This level is one of his more memorable levels, and definitely a classic. It's kind of impressive how he made symmetrical duels this interesting, because when you think of interesting duels, people think you have to make them asymmetrical, but I disagree. The part at the end is super intense too, and it raises my heart rate by about 10 whenever I'm there, no matter what. Speaking of which, on to my worst fail. My worst fail on this level was 98. And that may sound crazy, but it's not much of a surprise, because the hardest part of this level for me was the wave okay, yeah, it's the ship at the end. 86 to 98. Because of how dual ship gravity works, when you're a mini duel, you have way heavier physics, and it makes this part so much harder than if you weren't dual. Not to mention the gravity portals at the end, which you basically just have to straight fly and hope for the best, with about a 50% pass rate. I'm giving this level a 7 out of 10. Honestly, this is probably my least favorite solo level from him, but it's still a really good level. Oh yeah, and something I forgot to mention is one of my friends is playing Phobos at the same time as me playing High, and on the attempt I beat it, he got a new best, flew to the line, and then got 94. And if he didn't die at 94, we could have beat it on the same attempt, which is crazy, but unfortunately his SEO device stopped working randomly, so that's nice. I mean, 12 days is a lot. I feel like if you got like open heart surgery, you'd be recovered by then.
Okay.
Okay, still be in the hospital. Right
yeah. Okay, maybe not that, but like, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, something that's really funny is that the day I go to the airport, Holly's doing her driver's test, and the day I get back, she's getting her wisdom tooth removed.
1 tooth removed.
Yeah, wisdom tooth.
Getting all of them.
Imagine you had to
removed.
get one done at a time.
Dude, I really hope her parents fucking got her anesthesia. Because I learned yesterday from Jedwill's tweet that they allow you to get your wisdom tooth removed without fucking anesthesia, which is the most
Why would they
evil thing
not?
ever.
Why would they not do that?
I don't fucking know if you're like broke or something.
Are they broke?
No.
Okay, so
I mean, sometimes parents are like, "Hey, you can handle it."
nah, bro.
Oh.
Dude, Rage is some of the most fun I've had in this game, but it has been one of the most frustrating experiences so far. It's gonna make me rage.
Alright, I flipped the
Boy.
line.
Boy.
Alright, well,
I beat
you're
it.
dying in 3, 2, 1, 3 to 1, 3 to 1, 3 to 1.
Dude,
Why did you go down?
I told you you would have beaten it right
my
there,
Sayo
bro.
stopped
Wait,
working.
and you beat high.
Yeah, I
And
just
you
beat
just beat
high.
high. You
You
almost
got
beat
94? Wait, what? You got what? I wasn't paying
Sayo
attention.
stopped working,
What?
dude.
Dude,
I'm
most
so
of you
mad.
could have beaten it.
God.
Wait, your Sayo stopped working?
Right,
Yeah,
should
I
not.
was freaking.
And at a little bit more than halfway through, we have Valor. Valor is a mega collab hosted by Mega Man 9, and only has creators from the US in it, hence the name. Verified by Karma L, in my opinion, this level is a pretty hard Insane Demon. This level took me longer than 95% of the Insane Demons I've beaten. I don't know what it was, but it was super hard for me. I mean, there are a lot of brutal choke points in this level, like the invisible wave to UFO transition. Seriously, why is the portal rotated like this? This mini ball, this other ball. And if you're going for the coins, this jump is really hard because of it almost being blind. The designs of this level are pretty cool, but I'll admit they're kind of inconsistent. It's not bad deco for the time, but it could be better in some parts. Overall, this is a good level, but I'm not as big of a fan of this one compared to his other levels. Other than that, I don't really think there's much else to say about this level. My worst fail was 94, which is understandable since this wave part is really hard. But the hardest part for me was actually Karma L's part at 52 to 57. This part has very hard timings and the gameplay is super complicated and nuanced. If you hit any of these orbs in slightly the wrong way, you're basically dead. I'm gonna give this level a 6.5 out of 10. Probably my least favorite non-joke level on his account, but not a bad level by any means. It's things like that that make me realize, like, that I'm not on zero delay. Like, I definitely clicked there.
Dude, why do I just keep dying to dumb shit? Too hot in my room too, bro. Everything's wrong. Everything's wrong. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck. Fuck you, fuck, fuck you.
Wait. The lore. Oh my gosh, the lore. Alright. I gotta do the super scary climbs now. How tall is Ymir's shadow? Let me look this up.
Small break, bro. Actually, need to watch my hands.
And just like that.
Beat it? Surprise.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, I was actually... That's the most nervous I've been on Extreme Demon.
It's not an extreme.
I said non-Extreme Demon.
I thought you said on an extreme.
3, 3, 9, 4. Look, it's not that bad. It's not a bad level, but it's probably my least favorite on the account. And now we are back to invisible levels. Invisible Toe 2. Now, you were probably wondering earlier, where's Invisible Toe 2, since I already talked about Invisible Deadlocked in Clubstep. Well, I actually think this is harder than Invisible Deadlocked. Invisible Toe 2, short for Invisible Theory of Everything 2, is Karma L's second invisible level, and it's his hardest unrated one in my opinion. This is the final one I beat because I knew it was going to be the harder one compared to Clubstep, which was the other one I had left. This level is pretty damn hard to learn. The level is kind of already a borderline memory level, but making it invisible just adds a whole new layer of insanity. Even though I think this is harder than Invisible Deadlocked, this has the least consistent difficulty out of all of them. There are super easy parts, like most of the cube parts and the ball parts, but the waves and ships are a different story. Hands down, the overall hardest game modes to play while you can't see is the wave and ship, and it's so hard to explain why, but they just are. And this even goes the opposite way, too. Speaking of which, I honestly think beating Deadlocked with an invisible icon is almost as hard as beating it invisible. Don't believe me? Try it for yourself. Good luck with this part, where you just have no idea where you are, or where you have to readjust. Anyways, this level is again surprisingly fun to learn. I don't know what it is with invisible levels, they're just so enjoyable to figure out. It's like a puzzle level every time. Maybe I found my new obsession, I don't know. Invisible Dash, anyone? No, but I really don't have much to say about this level that I haven't already said about Invisible Deadlocked and Clubstep. My worst fail on this level was 95, which was to a wave, which is understandable. And the hardest part is 51 to 70. Well, it's actually more complicated than that. It's more like 51 to 57 plus 61 to 70. Because these two wave parts plus the ship right after are insanely difficult, but this ball maze in the middle is super easy. But anyways, the second wave specifically is almost laughably hard if you decide to get the coin, which I did. The gap here is super tight, and when it's invisible it's so hard to make it into. Not to mention this ship after, which is already hard visible, and invisible it's on a whole new level. Now some of you may be thinking, what about the infamous ship part at 78? That part is so hard. Well, while I agree, it was surprisingly not as bad as I thought it would be invisible. I count 6 clicks here, then I hit the portal, go up a little, and then go up about double the distance of that here. It's pretty consistent. Anyways, who would have guessed that I'm going to give this level a 5 out of 10? Left the call? I thought he just deafened.
Oh yeah, he literally left.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
I knew it would happen. I just didn't know when. That's not...
That's just a lot lower.
That's a lot lower than I thought it was gonna be, and also a lot more than I thought it was gonna be. Like, when I went into this, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take like 5,000 attempts. And then when I started getting to the wave, I was like, oh no, this is gonna take me so long. But then I was getting consistent, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna beat this really soon. Okay, 3, 6, 9, 5. Hard. Up next, we have Rearm. Another classic, Rearmed is a remake of one of Karma's oldest levels, Unarmed, and it's quite an upgrade. This level has some of the most unique gameplay out there. Literally every moment of this level there's something interesting happening gameplay-wise. The deco in this level, while being somewhat messy, has some very unique ideas with it too. This level was supposed to be mainly decorated by Megward, I don't know, but yeah, he gave up past a few block designs, so Karma just ended up decorating the entire thing himself. And I'd say he did pretty well. Like most of his levels, this level has a crazy impactful drop, which has this cool wave gimmick where the corridor moves up and down, so you have to account for that by going closer to the wall than you normally would. Like this wave part, this level has many points of interest, like this part where it reverse flashbangs you and goes completely black, and the first cube part, which is pretty intricate with how it's set up. But the real star of the show is this duel, which is probably the part people remember this level for the most, if not tied with the drop. This duel is super complicated and hard to learn, to the point where basically 90% of my attempts on this level were learning this duel in practice mode. I mean, most of the duel, you can't just focus on one icon, you have to switch focus on both, and it makes it very overwhelming at first. But eventually I got it down. The next part I kept dying to for some unknown reason, and that segues into my worst fail. My worst fail on this level was 51. Yes, 51. I don't know how I fluked this level from 51, but I think the drop is easier than the pre-drop. And this is going to be very surprising, but the hardest part is the duel. Or rather, 36 to 48. Because of the sheer focus and precision this duel needs, I think it's the hardest part by far. But I don't know, maybe there's some people very good at duel and find the wave the harder part. I'm gonna give this level a 7 out of 10. Very good level for the time, but I think he has better ones. Finally! Fluke from 51. Oh my, that almost, holy shit. This almost took me 3,000 attempts. It's dude, okay, for some reason, that one invisible cube at like 50 just is random on 2.2. I don't know what happened, but it's so broken. And it's like, it works for other people perfectly, but sometimes I just get a weird alignment and it just does not work. And now we make it to Extreme Demons, Elite Z Rebirth. Elite Z Rebirth is another remake, and it's a remake of an old impossible level called Elite Z by Play4075365. It has a slight decoration upgrade and only some of the gameplay is different. This level is infamous for a certain part that I will get to later, but this entire level is a bit trolly, I guess is the word that I would use. Whether it be the completely invisible gameplay, the almost invisible gameplay, the spam, yeah, you get it. This level is probably the Karma L level that the least amount of people want to play, and I totally understand why, but I think it's an interesting level. Once I beat this level though, I knew I could beat the rest, I'm not even kidding. This is one of the most intimidating ones next to Mannix. But speaking of which, this is still the least amount of attempts I have taken on an Extreme Demon. 1,181. And I think this is the second easiest Extreme Demon I've beaten, the easiest being White Album. In my opinion, this is a little bit harder than Ice Karma Diablo X, which might be a hot take, but that's just how it felt to me. My worst fail was 97, and before you get on me for that, the last triple is bigger than the rest. Anyways, I've been avoiding it for long enough, but the hardest part, and the part that most people know this level for, is 41 to 44, which is a 2-player mini ship duel straight fly, and it's literally the only 2-player part in the entire level. While this is the hardest part, it actually got really consistent once I learned how it worked, which is why I think the level isn't as bad as people think it is. Now, this honestly seems like something Karma would add himself, but no, this existed in the original level too. I'm gonna get this level a 5.5 out of 10. It's alright, I guess, but it's nothing too special. It does get that extra half point at the end, though, for being at least a little unique.
Streams.
You, you just need to, learn this, and once you learn it, it's just, you just get past the 2-player straight fly, and then you have a good chance. Actually, the ball at 60 is really hard.
Yeah, the first click of the ball at 60 is, the choke pointiness. There's a severe thunderstorm heading my way, apparently. Bad timing for the people that are actually planning to shoot off fireworks. Hasn't Mason beaten this?
I don't know.
I feel like Mason's beaten this. I doubt that they should.
Can't promise. Yes, I can.
Hey!
I beat it.
GG.
Let's
You
fucking
beat a level
go!
before Draven.
Well,
To be
to be fair, I started learning it first, but...
Wait, sub 1,000 attempt
Oh my
extreme.
god, I didn't
Welcome to
even
the
realize.
club. Welcome to the club.
7,700... Actually, wait. No, it's not. But still, that's my lowest extreme. I haven't beat one
Yeah,
less than 2K. What is... And next we have Heartbeat. Heartbeat is a themed extreme demon made by Karma L, Ancient Anubis, and Airswipe. Karma made all the gameplay, and the other two decorated it. To start, I think this is one of the coolest levels in the entire game. The theming on this one is just absolutely perfect. This level actually feels like you're inside somebody's chest cavity, which is pretty off-putting and fits with the song, which is an absolute banger. The gameplay is extremely fun and unique, and this level makes a very good use of verticality, whether it being falling up or falling down. It's just rare to see a level take advantage of the height of the editor like this, and it's super creative. A common gameplay theme in this level is spam. This level is very spammy, but it's done in a creative way and usually syncs very well. Speaking of which, the level does sync very well in most parts, especially this UFO part, which the music can help with a lot. Another very music-based part, and definitely the most iconic part of the entire level, is the wave spam part. This part is so memorable and goes absolutely perfect with the music. And this was fairly early into 2.0, so this is a quite creative use of moving objects for the time too. The first part with all the orbs seems like it would be a spam part, but you can do it 100 different ways, including my way that I found where you don't even spam at all. Another recognizable part is the ending, which is repeating orbs and portals that you have to hit in a specific way to align yourself for the last gap. And that leads me on to my worst fail. My worst fail on this level was 99. Twice. Look, I thought I knew how to do this ending, but apparently not. This ending used to be near frame perfect on 240 FPS in 2.1, but with the recent physics changes in 2.2, it works the same on every FPS. Despite this fact, you can still die there. Clearly. Surprisingly, this level is pretty balanced, but I found the ship at 70 to 80 to be the hardest part. The spikes in this part are completely black and very hard to see, so it's surprisingly hard to make it through these gaps. Not to mention this green orb, which I died at 3 times because it's so hard to hit at the right time. And if you're getting the coin, releasing at the right time for that is hard too. I'm gonna give this level an 8.5 out of 10. Amazing level, and it still has aged very well to this day. 99 times 3?
You got this.
Finally.
Yes! Let's go.
God. Dude. You know what? I'm kind of glad I got 99 times 2, because you know what? 3! Dude, did you see that? 3
What?
hours, 50 minutes. I didn't know I was playing it for that long. Oh no, wait a minute. Did it record? Okay, it did.
You're actually like the fucking Stanley Parable guy doing the same thing for like his entire life and didn't even realize when it was over.
Oh my god. 4155. 4155! And now we make it back to invisible levels. But this is the last one, I promise. Manix. Manix is a collab between Karma L and Manix 648, but the catch is that all of the gameplay is completely invisible. Manix made the deco for the backgrounds and effects, and I'm assuming Karma made the gameplay, but I'm not sure. Actually, adding this in later, but I found out that what actually happened was Robtop said that he'd rate one of Karma's levels if he named it Manix. So then he decided to collab with Manix, and Manix would make the entire level, and Karma would then take it, make it invisible, and then verify it. And that's exactly what happened. And then he didn't rate it until 5 years later for some reason. But yeah, back to the actual video. Something not many people know about this level is that the invisible version was actually made first, and Robtop refused to rate it, so Manix made a visible version for Robtop to rate. And the only reason the visible version's ID is lower is because the invisible version got deleted a while ago, but was re-uploaded later. But the invisible version ended up getting rated anyway, so yeah. But let's get to the level. This level is the hardest invisible level I've beaten, and it'll probably stay that way for a while. With the invisible Robtop levels, at least there were levels most people were already familiar with. But with Manix, it's a completely original new level that I had to learn from scratch. I definitely had an interesting time learning this because it felt so out of my range when I started it, but as I went on, it started to make more and more sense. The pre-drop in this level is harder than I thought it would be, and usually when I passed it, I made it to at least 60. The wave at 60 is pretty hard, especially this wave release, which is hard to get down when you literally can't see. What makes up for it though is this insane skip I found at 78. I'm not sure if this is known, but it's super useful. In the visible Manix, there are spikes up here, but in the invisible one, for some reason they are just gone, so you can just skip these 2 blue orbs, go down, skip the ship portal, then change gravity one more time to get to the wave portal. And it skips having to do this really hard shift click to get under here. I just love finding out cool ways to do stuff and techniques that I can use to make invisible levels just that little bit more easier. Another thing to add is that the coins in this level are brutal. They're some of the hardest coins I've ever had to get in an Extreme Demon. The first coin is fairly easy, but the second and third are extremely hard. The second coin requires you to be mini when you straight fly here, but the only way to do that is to fall super low here, but since you can't see, it's so difficult to get the right timing. And then the third coin is not only a super hard green orb timing that is one of the hardest clicks in the level, but to unlock it you need this key, which you get through a blind ship release timing. Anyways, the difficulty in this level is like a reverse bell curve, really. The beginning is super hard, but once you get past the beginning and get to the drop, it's pretty straightforward. But then you make it to the ending. And oh yeah, did I mention the ending? It's still invisible, but the background is conical depression. Interesting choice. But the ending is so hard, especially this wave click and these jumps between the spikes that are invisible. And to make this level even more bullshit than it already is, there's a tiny invisible spike at the end that kills you if you don't jump at the right time. Moving on to my worst fail. My worst fail was 91, which is expected because these jumps are some of the hardest timings in the entire level. And then back to the difficulty, or rather the hardest part. The hardest part in my opinion is 82 to 96. This ending is just so hard. Not only is this right at the very end and you have to get through everything else to get to it, but it also has way harder timings than the rest of the level, which is why I think it's the hardest part. I'm giving this level a 6.5 out of 10. I still found this as fun as the other invisible levels to learn, but this one gets extra points for being an actual original level.
10, bro. I fumbled the bag back then, bro.
Nah, cause I did the same with Sunset and I didn't fumble that bag, I fucking got it. Don't care if it's lower.
Yeah. But I'm nowhere near what I was. Like, my old, like, way of, like, playing the game before was, like, I actually OP maxes, bro. In
now I have an actual computer. I thought having an actual computer would make me better, but it's trying to make me worse. I mean, also, I didn't play for like 3 years straight, so, you know, that also kind of explains it. I'm starting to get really used to fucking up arrow now.
Don't die.
I beat it.
Yes!
Let's
Dude,
go.
I did the thing where I spoke for the first time in like 30 minutes without like clearing my throat. I would like, don't die.
My gosh, 5,475.
What was that? Yeah,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I'm recording, okay. G fucking G.
Look at that.
Next, we have another banger. Falling Up. Falling Up is another one of those levels that everyone remembers. This level is the embodiment of nostalgia and an update-defining masterpiece. From the 2.1 soon billboard to the song, this level is peak Geometry Dash in my opinion. It's just so unapologetic in the way that it's made. The theming was absolutely perfectly executed here. With a name like Falling Up, this is basically exactly what I would imagine it looking like. From the stars, to the city, to the rain, to the clouds. Everywhere this level takes you feels like you're actually falling up. The gameplay lines up with the feeling of falling up too, since there's a lot of changes in elevation. Speaking of the gameplay, I think that you could probably guess by now that I love it. The beginning cube is super fun and so creative with the rising spikes, and the color palette is beautiful and fits with the theme of the sky. The ship parts in this level are so satisfying, and as always, go perfect with the song, which is one of the most classic songs used in GD, and one of my favorites. They are super hard though. The ships in this level are no joke, especially the ones in the second drop. This click at 71 is the hardest click in the entire level in my opinion. It doesn't look like it on first glance, but I died here multiple times. Once you pass this click, you have a pretty good chance of making it to the end, but I'll leave the ending for later. Something I want to talk about is the difficulty. This level used to be an insane demon, which is unbelievable to me, because I don't even think this level is an entry extreme, let alone an insane demon. To me, this level is a pretty decently hard extreme demon. The beginning is pretty hard to pass because of this part where you have to hit all these orbs basically as late as possible. And if you're getting the coin, it's even harder. And then the ships at the drop are tough to make it through because it's really hard to straighten out after hitting these orbs. I mean, it gets somewhat consistent, but you only get a chance at it after you pass the pre-drop. The second drop is even harder than the first in my opinion. The waves are easier, but the ships are completely unforgiving. But of course, we can't forget about the most iconic part of this level, the ending duel. This leads me on to my worst fail and the hardest part, but not before absolutely praising this part. This part is the absolute climax in this level in my opinion. The sun rises, you're in the clouds, rainbows form, and the song ramps up in intensity one last time. And then we have one of the most infamous duels in the entire game. Making something that's as memorable as this is really hard, but apparently he cracked the code more than 10 years ago. Because even people who hate this level remember this duel. Albeit maybe it's because it's the hardest part. But anyways, actually onto my worst fail. My worst fail on this level was 93. Twice. Even though it makes a lot of sense how I died here, I'm surprised I didn't die farther. And surprisingly enough, the hardest part of this level is the last duel, at 86 to 96. There's actually 80 to 96, but I don't feel like recording that line again. I don't know, man, I'm so tired. This is one of the most complex and nuanced duels I've ever had to learn. Especially this asymmetrical ship duel, which is infamously hard to control. And even though I think this is the hardest part, I think it's one of the more fun parts of the level. I'm gonna give this level a 9 out of 10. Even though I think this is one of the best levels in the game, I can still acknowledge that it might be annoying in some parts. Speaking of which, I had a terrible time with this level, which is a shame because I love it. Honestly, I think it was a, dare I say, skill issue back then, because I'm a lot better now, and I'm a lot more consistent at it than I used to be. But I just got really mad every time I died far, which is why I had such a crazy reaction at the end when I beat it.
Yes! Yes! Fuck you! Yes! Oh my god! I love this level so much, but I had the worst experience ever. I got 93 4 times. Oh my god, I got 89 2 times, I got 87 2 times, or no, 88 2 times, 87 2 times, 86 4 times, I think. I don't even know how much, I got more than 10 dual deaths, but oh my god. Let's fucking go. Less than 5k, 4963.
The next level is a very hard extreme demon, Conical Depression. Now, this level is a quite controversial one, but I'll get to that later. Conical Depression was my first extreme demon, and it was quite a jump since my hardest before that was Necropolis. Now, many people told me I was crazy for jumping to Conical, but I had so much fun with this level, and it's still one of my favorite extreme demons. I started Conical Depression back in late 2023, and wanna know what else happened in late 2023? Yeah, 2.2 dropped. And a direct result of this was the physics completely changing and everything felt off. But I persevered and I kept going, and in January of 2024, I beat it. I finally got my first extreme after over 8 years of playing the game. Like I said, I love this level. There's just something about the gameplay that makes it so enjoyable to play. Who would have thought that an extended challenge level would be actually fun to beat? Anyways, earlier I said this level was a controversial one, and that's because it came out in 2.0. And it looks like this. And it's rated. Many people heavily disagree with this level being rated, but I think it deserves it for a similar reason in Invisible Deadlocked. This level was the third hardest demon verified at the time, almost as hard as Bloodbath, and he verified it on 60 Hz as opposed to Riot, who verified Bloodbath on 144. And RobTop gave him a deal that he would rate it if Karma actually verified it, and after more than 45,000 attempts, he did it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but barely anyone was making moves like these back then, and I think a reward is warranted. But I digress. This level took me a bit more than 13,000 attempts and about a month to beat, which was the most amount of attempts I'd ever spent on an extreme demon by far at the time. I can't really explain why I love this level so much, but you can't really understand it until you played it yourself. The gameplay has a lot of hitbox abuse and it's just kind of jank in general, but it always seems to be this type of gameplay that makes you feel like a wizard when you do it, which might be part of the reason I find it so fun. Another reason might be because of how unusual it is compared to other levels. You just rarely saw a gameplay like this back then, and a side effect of this was people calling it cancer, which is really just the 2016 way of saying it's cool. Now, usually I talk about the deco by now, and well, yeah. Look, at least it's not Conical Depression X. But anyways, I do appreciate how this level is kind of pseudo-memory. Like, there are multiple pathways, but in a weird way, it's easy to know where to go. It just reminds me of old map pack levels, but in an extreme demon form. And I have a soft spot for the map packs. Anyways, to my worst fail. My worst fail on this level was 85. I never mentioned it, but the last 15% of this level is just the last ship in Stereo Madness, but with a mini-wave, which is super easy and just a tongue-in-cheek way of ending it. So 85% is basically the last possible place you can die. And the reason I died here is because the part before it is an orb spam, and I kept spamming for too long. And when I entered the wave portal, I died to the top block. Pretty bad death, but I beat it very shortly after. And now for a hot take. Usually people say that the hardest part of this level is the pre-drop, but the hardest part in this level for me was the last cube, or 52 to 85. This part has some brutal tight timings, like the first pink orb timing, this green orb, and these orbs to get under the spike. And also the fact that it's right at the end, so you're always super nervous by the time you get there. I also just thought the pre-drop in this level was hyper consistent, like I was passing it pretty often, sometimes even twice in a row. The only extremely hard parts of it are the first 3 clicks and this blue orb. But the rest is pretty straightforward. I'm gonna give this level an 8 out of 10. One of the most fun extreme demons I've ever played, but you know, it's kind of a layout. It doesn't take away too much from the experience, but I'm not giving it higher than an 8 because of that. Oh yeah, one last thing I want to add is that probably one of the dumbest decisions I've ever made is I wanted the completion video to be like those ones where the clicks fade out and the music fades in. And because of this, half of my completion has no clicks, and I deleted the raw footage. So I don't have a version of the completion with all the clicks. It's kinda dumb, but whatever.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I beat it! Oh my god! Oh my god!
The architect and the builder are
I didn't.
simulator with a sense of purpose.
I need to. Oh
Nice,
my
dude.
god. Oh my
The
god.
head is soaring!
Let's
Oh my
fucking
god.
go.
The head is soaring.
Oh my god.
The architect.
Next up, we have former top 1 demon, Phobos. Phobos is a nerfed version of a previously impossible level that was hacked by a player named Tigersec, who also has a part in this level. The level was hosted by GMT Sean and features many noteworthy creators at the time, like Smokes, Dream Eater, Skitten, Andromeda, and Woogie, just to name a few. The nerfed version was verified legit by Karma L and also on 60Hz, and was placed at 1 on the demon list, above Bloodbath. While it was eventually moved below, today Phobos is widely considered harder than Bloodbath, and I would have to agree. Phobos features a lot of unusual gameplay and decoration choices, and a lot of choke points. Now, this may be jank the level, but I'm here to defend this level with my life. Many people think Phobos is one of the worst extreme demons, but I have to disagree heavily on this. I think Phobos is a good level and overhated. Many people say it hasn't aged well, but I would say that it has. To an extent. I mean, you could tell it's an old level, but it's just a product of its time. The gameplay has its moments, definitely, but you just have to figure out how it works just like any other level, and it becomes consistent and pretty fun to play. Like I said earlier, this level does have its choke points, but each one has a consistent method to pass it. For example, a very infamous part in this level is Tigersec's part, which is this dual mini-ship, but there's a catch. If you enter this part in a slightly different way each time, your ships will misalign and you can't fly straight anymore. Now, people call this a bug, but I call it a skill issue! No, but if you enter this dual portal in the exact middle while falling as the wave, it works 90% of the time. And as for the other 10%, well, you don't pass every part in this level 100% of the time either, and I don't think it's any different here. People also say the decoration in this level isn't very good, but for being half made in 1.9 and half in 2.0, I think it's up to par. It's definitely an interesting looking level. The most infamous part decoration-wise is definitely this part, which has some questionable color choices, but honestly I think it looks kinda cool. Since this part was pretty much made right after 2.0 came out, I forgive it for looking like this. Not to mention, I don't think this is even the worst looking part. The difficulty in this level is mostly spread out pretty well. It's structured in a way where there's no part that is insanely harder than the rest, but every now and then there's a part that's harder than the previous one. I found myself dying to basically every part in this level equally, but it was a super consistent level. Once I passed Eyeblade's part, I knew it would probably be a pretty good attempt though, because that part is a big choke point. Another interesting part is the duel after Tigersec, which is a pretty confusing duel to learn, but you just gotta practice it and find your own click pattern and it won't be too bad. And that goes for most of this level, but this is just a more prominent example. Something noteworthy about this level is the fact that Karma said he wanted to verify this in its completely unchanged state. And when he means completely unchanged, he means it. There are many mistakes in this level. For example, Sean's part has the borders of the screen in a completely wrong place, meaning that there is just a block of emptiness at the bottom. And another mistake is one that everyone knows about and has mixed opinions about. The line. The line is these 3 objects in a row that are just randomly in this robot transition, and if you try to enter it normally, you'll just fall under them and die. So what you have to do is either enter the robot portal high and land on the line, or enter it low so when you turn into the robot you can jump onto it. The reason this was here was for playtesting purposes with the start position, but when the level was given to Karma to verify, they forgot to remove it, and completely in character, he decided to leave it in. I don't know, I think it's pretty funny and it's not too much of a difficulty spike if you know how to do it. I actually fluked it the first time I got there, but that leads me on to my worst fail. My worst fail on this level was 96. The last 12% in this level used to be a crazy duel that was the hardest part of the unnerfed, but in the nerf version it was changed to just a ship and it's one of the easiest parts in the level now. Despite this, I still lost control and died there. And it was such a sad death too, because I thought I was going to die that line multiple times, but I got past it first try and I thought I was going to beat it, but nope. The hardest part in this level is, well, I actually don't know. This is the first level on his account that I genuinely cannot pick a hardest part. Like, there are definitely hard parts in this level, but it's hard to pick one I found the hardest. I thought Eyeblade was one of the hardest parts, but it's on par with Sean's part, which is also on par with Joe 2000's part. I don't know, man, a lot of people have their opinions of what the hardest part is, but not me. I found this level to be extremely consistent. I guess I'm just good at this type of gameplay. I'm gonna give this level an 8 out of 10. A very enjoyable experience and a legendary level that feels amazing to have under your belt.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah!
Let's fucking go, dude.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Finally.
Nice.
Oh,
Awesome.
so nervous.
I just learned you got 96 before and that is
Yeah, you got to past Android. He was like, new best. And I was like, you got at 96. He was like, what?
Oh my
Nice.
god, finally. Oh
Hell
my
yeah.
god, dude, that was so quick. After when I got 96,
That
I
was
took a
fast.
huge break. Or like I started playing a little bit after, but then I took a huge break. And I just came back. Holy shit. That's like
Nice.
playing close to my house. Anyways. You can probably hear in the recording. 8,496 steps. Okay. I
Hell yeah.
just missed the cap. Dude, what? I swear that I just hit the caps. What has happened? Oh, I'm in a different language, I think. I was pressing A and it kept doing 4. I was so confused.
And now, we have a very special level to me. Black Blizzard. Now, why is this level special to me? Well, this level is my favorite level in the entire game. Across all difficulties and updates, this one still reigns supreme in my eyes. Literally everything about this level is perfect. The decoration, the gameplay, the atmosphere, the theming, the song. I could go on about this level forever. But this video is already an hour and a half, so I'll refrain. But I'm still going to talk about this level like it saved my life. Black Blizzard was my dream extreme demon to beat, and I've wanted to beat it ever since my hardest was Rupture. Black Blizzard came out when I was fairly new to Geometry Dash, and I remember liking it day one of its release. The effects were mind-blowing for the time, and I had never seen anything like it before. I was about 12 years old at the time, and my hardest was probably the Nightmare or something. Never in a million years did I dream of completing such an insanely hard level, since, at the time, it was placed around 9 on the demon list back when Sonic Wave was 1. Fast forward 7 years later, and I actually completed it. It was my new hardest demon at the time, overtaking Conical Depression. It took me more than 15,000 attempts, and it was the best experience I had ever had with an extreme demon. There wasn't a single time where I didn't feel like playing it. The gameplay in this level must be psychologically engineered, because it's the most fun gameplay I've ever played, and there's not a single bad part in this level. The first cube has the infamous blue orb, but even this click is fun to do. It may be one of the hardest clicks in the level, but the feeling you get when you do it is unexplainable. And same for the next click, which this level popularized. After you hit this blue orb, you have to keep holding, because if you don't, the next click is impossible. The way this click works is you have to jump off the ground and mid-air hit the orb. And the only way to do that is to carry over your click from the blue orb. Such a simple gameplay mechanic, but it works so well here. A little bit farther in the level, and we have one of the most iconic parts in not only this level, but all of his levels combined, the staircase. The staircase is this simple repeated structure that ascends in elevation to the song. And it may seem easy, but you have to land on the very beginning of the first block and hold, and if you land slightly too far into it, you won't make it to the top. Something that would normally seem lazy and boring is used in such an impactful way, and it's just unforgettable. I will say, the staircase used to be way easier and forgiving on higher FPS before 2.2 came out, but since all FPS values have the same physics now, it works as intended. The second cube is just as satisfying to pull off. Something this level utilizes a lot is double clicks, which is where you use 2 different buttons to input twice at the same time. and this cube uses double clicks a couple times, but it's woven into the gameplay so naturally. Before you get to the drop, you have these 2 triple spikes, and I can't emphasize enough how important these jumps are. It's the final stretch after all of the pre-drop right before the climax of the level, and they make you feel like a complete badass. And then we get to the drop. And I haven't been talking about the decoration so far because I've been saving it for later, but I can't wait anymore. These are some of the coolest effects still to this day. And this was 8 years ago and 2 updates ago. The tornado in the background with the black snowstorm will never not impress me. Like I said before, the theming here could not be executed more perfectly in this level. And by the way, what an amazing idea for a level. I don't know if he was inspired by something else with the idea, but hearing this Creo song and imagining a dark snowstorm and actually being able to execute it like this is on another level of imagination that I don't have. Next I'm going to talk about probably the best looking part of the entire level, and the most fun part to play, and arguably the most loved part of this entire level, the duel. The duel in this level is, unsurprisingly, my favorite duel part in all of GD. Every part in this duel is just made so perfectly, and it's all very uncommon game mode combinations like Miniwave and UFO or Ship and Ball, and none of it really feels jank or buggy. Everything in this level feels amazing to play, but this part specifically has to have cocaine in it. I just can't get enough of it. This part is super learny, and it was really hard to learn, but the payoff once I did it was all worth it, because it became super consistent. Anyways, onto the decoration and effects of this part. With the flashing lights combined with the mountain in the background and the storm growing in intensity, this part is probably one of, if not my favorite part in any GD level to this day. Once you get past this duel, you get a short single icon section, and then the song slows down into this ending part, and what an ending. After everything else you've been through, there is one final stress test at the end, and it's so cinematic. The walls almost feel like they're closing in despite them not moving at all. When you make it here from 0, you're already nervous out of your mind, and because of how slow and calming this part is, it gives you time to think about how far you actually are. Like, if this were a super fast and complicated ending, you would be so focused on the gameplay that you wouldn't have any time to think about what's happening. But it's the fact that it's this slow pace that makes it feel like an actual last stretch. Now I'll talk about some things I didn't talk about, like the amazing atmosphere in the first cube with the glow and particles in the background, which is executed flawlessly. And also in the second cube, this really cool gimmick where these 2 crosshair looking things lock on to the next 2 orbs in this part. But they even lock on to fake orbs that you don't hit, and I think it's such an interesting detail that makes this part that more memorable. Also, I can't talk about this level without mentioning one of the coolest title cards of any level ever. Just pure aura. Anyways, this segment is already long enough, and I haven't even talked about the controversy surrounding this level yet, so I'll keep it short. This level originally used to be way harder, and people were debating whether or not it would be harder than Yada, which was top 1 at the time. But Karma heavily nerfed the level because he cared more about the quality of the level rather than the difficulty, which is completely understandable. But people got really mad that he nerfed it because they thought it was going to be top 1, which is really stupid in my opinion, since it's his level and he gets to change it however he wants, but whatever. Another controversy about this level was the song. Karma originally did not want the song to be known yet until the level was released, but people got really impatient and eventually found it through Shazam and started spamming comment sections on the song about Karma and being annoying about it, which caused him to ban anyone mentioning the song in his Twitch chat, which had some people mad about it. With all that being said, a question you might be wondering is, do I have literally anything bad to say about this level at all? Well, the answer is, kind of. The only criticism I have for this level is that the LDM removes way too much detail and makes it significantly easier to see in some parts, especially the last part. But this is more of a minor nitpick. Otherwise, I think this level is perfect. My worst fail on this level was 96. I can't believe some people fluked this part because I could barely control my hands every time I made it there, and I died to this last corridor 6 times. Including 95 twice, and the second time I literally just laughed, because this was very shortly after the first one, and I was in complete shock that I died there again. The hardest part of this level, in my opinion, is the second cube, or 25 to 40. A lot of people find the first cube harder, but I didn't. I thought the first cube was super consistent, and the second one just had overall harder timings for me. Also, this part was heavily buffed in 2.2 unintentionally. For some odd reason, RobTop changed the way block collisions work in 2.2, and in weird circumstances, you can hit your head on blocks that don't even have H-blocks on them. And it makes this part with the green orb so much harder. In 2.1 and before, you used to just be able to clip through the corner of this block somewhat. But in 2.2, if you do the same thing, you just bump your head off it and die. Now, what am I gonna give this level out of 10? Well, obviously a 10 out of 10. Perfect level in my eyes, and even 8 years later, nothing has come close.
Oh my god, yes! 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 What? Yes! I actually just beat Black Blizzard. Yes! GD! Oh my god.
At second to last, we have Low Death. Now, remember what I said earlier in the video? Okay, clearly when this guy makes shitpost levels, he doesn't want to verify some crazy extreme, which is understandable. Yeah. Low Death is a remake, or rather, a buffed version of High Life, by this guy whose name I still can't pronounce. And the word buffed is not used lightly here. High Life is a 9-star, and Low Death is an extreme demon that's a little bit harder than Black Blizzard. He clearly didn't hold back on the difficulty here. This level was started in late 2015, and it definitely shows. Half of the level is full of completely outdated references and memes, but it gives this level an invaluable amount of charm. This level sort of serves as a time capsule of that era, and I love it for it. But the main thing people remember this level for is its complicated history. This level became one of Karma's most anticipated projects in a very short amount of time, to the point where he even started selling t-shirts with the phrase "Verify Low Death." And this phrase quickly became a meme across the GD community. Despite this level not even being released to the public, this was one of the most talked about levels around this time. I mean, you were constantly hearing about people talk about this level and wondering if it would ever be verified, because at the time, the level seemed like a dead project, since Karma did not seem like he wanted anything to do with this level anymore. But people still had hope that maybe one day it would be verified and released. Fast forward around 3 years, and most of the talk about this level was basically gone, and it was slowly fading back into obscurity. But out of nowhere, on April Fool's Day of 2020, Karma premiered a video called Gangnam Style, and it was what seemed to be a completion of Low Death, and because of what day this was uploaded on, people didn't believe it was real. But it was. This was the real verification of Low Death. After 3 years of absolute chaos surrounding this level, it was finally over. After being uploaded to his account, it was rated a day later, and this was either surprising or unsurprising, depending on who you ask. But you don't have to ask me to know that I think this level should have been 100% rated. This may seem like just a buff version of High Life, and it is, but it's still a super cool level, and since he got the original creator's permission to make this, I don't see why this doesn't deserve at least a rate. The gameplay in this level is some of his best, and it's funny how a level like this is one of his most fun levels. Turns out when you just say fuck it and have fun in the editor is when the most creativity comes out. As always, the gameplay in this level has plenty of unique and unusual ideas, and it's intentionally frustrating, but in a funny way. Let's take this ship for example. Everyone knows this part. In High Life, the lyrics show at the bottom, but in Low Death? Yeah. They appear in probably the most annoying places possible and completely block the gameplay. But you just can't help but laugh because of how stupid it is. Another small detail in this level I love is the ship part of 64, or rather the very beginning of it. In High Life, there's this little platform and slope to help you transition into the part, but in Low Death, Karma added these spikes on the slope that'll kill you if you use it. He could have easily removed this entire structure, but putting spikes here is basically saying straight to your face, you see this slope? Yeah, fuck you, you can't use it. And I think it's great. It's just the little details that make this level amazing. Last one I'll point out is these arrows. Now, obviously if you're going for this level, you've practiced it extensively, so these arrows pointing in the wrong direction would never trick you. But the fact that these arrows are even here at all, just based on the fact that you might fall for them one time on your first practice run, needs to be appreciated. I just wish more people made extreme demons like this nowadays. The smart-ass levels that make your experience better through the things that aren't just playing the level to beat it. I would usually talk about the decoration, but it's basically an exact copy of High Life. So I guess I'll talk about High Life. I truly think High Life is one of the most important levels ever made. On top of being one of the most nostalgic levels, it's one of the more creative late 1.9 early 2.0 levels. It captures the song's energy perfectly, and it feels more like an experience rather than a level. Okay, not like that. Anyways, it's crazy how Karma managed to take an already legendary level and arguably turn it into an even more well-known level. I think it's partly because of how influential he is as a community member, but I think it would be wrong not to give this level at least some of the credit it deserves. As for my experience with this level, I absolutely loved it. This was the last Karma L level I had to beat until they were all complete, and it was an amazing send-off since it's the second hardest one. I already had my sights on EXO, so I beat that first just as a personal challenge, but I'll get to that later in the video. I really did not have that much trouble with this level. The pre-drop is pretty difficult, especially with this wave that has a 1 space gap, which is one of the hardest timings in the level, but it's really 1 release, so it's not that bad. But then 23 to 40 is basically a break part. You could definitely still die here, and I did a few times, including to this, which I didn't even know existed until I died here. But once you get to the second drop, this is where things start picking up in difficulty. But I'm going to talk about my worst fail now, and then we'll get to the hardest part. My worst fail on this level was 94, because somehow I missed this green orb. And when I rewatched the clip, I'm still confused at how I missed it. It sounds like I clicked at the perfect time, but you listen for yourself. I must have clicked a literal frame I was off the orb's hitbox. Anyways, I think the hardest part in this level is 70 to 82. This part includes this ball, which has insane timings compared to the rest of the level, and then it has this cube after, which I died to this blue orb 2 times. And 2 times may not sound like that much, but when you're playing a 3.5 minute level, a death at 78 is soul crushing. But I guess I shouldn't be complaining too much, cause clearly it can definitely get worse. Anyways, the next part of this part is the beginning of the ship, which has super tight flying, and especially since these corner piece hitboxes stick out so far and you have to avoid them so carefully. I'm gonna give this level an 8.5 out of 10. I love this level. And who would have thought that an absolutely destroyed version of an already good level would be one of my favorite levels from him. But at this point, it's kind of in character for that to be the case. For me and for him. This works.
You said, I'll beat it today, yesterday, when you got like 80. And now you got 94, and you said I won't beat it today.
Yeah, because if I didn't get 94, I would have beat it today. But I got 94.
Well, you're still playing it.
Yesterday it was like a given that I would beat it today, but now it's like a 50% chance.
Dude, Andrew's top 5 is gonna be so much cooler than mine. It's like his top.
You just need to start playing extremes.
What?
You just need to start playing extremes.
I have more than him.
Yeah, but he has harder ones.
Yeah, I don't like playing hard things.
Well, then that's okay.
I just realized I'm far. I was like thinking of something and I was like, wait. I'm like at this part that I don't usually make it to often. Wish me luck.
No. Good luck.
Oh my god!
Yes,
Oh my
it
god!
worked.
What?
It worked.
What?
It worked. It
What?
worked.
There's no way. No
I'm
way.
nonchalant.
No
It worked.
way.
It worked.
No way.
Being nonchalant.
I actually beat
And-
it.
Let's go.
I did. What?
You see, us saying no,
way.
us saying no,
No way.
it works. It works in the opposite way.
Oh my. I was so not confident that attempt. I don't know why. I just didn't feel like I was gonna beat it. What? Oh my god. It's over.
And finally, we make it to the last level in this video, EXO. EXO is an important level to me. This level uses a cover of a song by Eden called EXO. The cover was done by Aaron Musselwhite, and it's a pretty decent cover. And there are many reasons why this level is special to me, but the main reason is Eden is one of my favorite artists, and this level is the reason why. As a matter of fact, the song in the background of this segment is actually another Eden song off the same EP that EXO is on. Also, you should stream his new album. Eden's music has gotten me through a lot in the past 3 years, and it's all thanks to this level in Geometry Dash. If Karma never decided to make a level with this song, I would have never heard of Eden, and I wouldn't currently have almost 3,000 plays on his music. This just shows how important a song in a Geometry Dash level can be. It's a good way to introduce people to new music. The same thing happened with Falling Up, since it got everyone to listen to Hintkick, and the same thing happened with Creo, with Black Blizzard. Just remember, when you're creating a level, the music you choose to use in it could possibly change people's lives, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Because I like the original song so much, I replaced the cover with it in GD, since I would rather listen to the original. But I don't think the cover is bad by any means. I just prefer the original. Anyways, this level is a layout-styled XL level, and it's Karma's last level that he made, also his hardest by far. This level is around Erebus difficulty and was placed at 31 on the demon list on January 15th, 2020. EXO is currently my hardest demon, and before that it was previously Black Blizzard. It took me a little bit more than 15,000 attempts, which is pretty good considering that's how much Black Blizzard took me. And this level is way harder. I started EXO back in June of 2024, and I picked it up fairly quickly. I was making some pretty good progress. In about 3 days I did 58 to 100. And it may seem like crazy progress for that amount of time, but the second half of this level is way easier than the first half. I took a small break, but then I kept playing and eventually started quickly getting progress on it from 0. Like 27, then eventually 41, 63, and then in around early October I fluked all the way to 78. This was the most nervous I had ever been playing a GD level, and I felt like I was literally gonna have a heart attack. After this though, I lost motivation to play it unfortunately, and I moved on to other things. And EXO was left in the dust. I knew I'd come back to it eventually, but I didn't know when. Then fast forward to around July of 2025, and I hadn't beaten Extreme Demon in over 9 months. But I recently got motivation to pick one up, which was White Album. And when I beat that, I found new motivation to start playing Extreme Demons again. So after that, I beat It Back, and then Forbidden Isle, and then I thought I gotta pick EXO back up eventually, so I said fuck it, it's now or never. And in literally less than 2 days of picking it back up, I beat it. The second time I got past the first sync part, I beat it. This was unbelievable to me, and the fact that I finished this level off so fast had me thinking that I could have probably just done this a long time ago, but I was just happy to have it done. So what do I think of this level? Well, I've repeated myself 1,000 times at this point, but I love this level so much. Despite it looking like a layout, I think there is just as much love and care put into this level as his other ones. This level has fun enough gameplay for me to think it's one of my favorite Extreme Demons, and the decoration may just be 1.0 styled, but it's super cool. A detail everyone knows about this level by now is how Karma managed to hide the letters EXO basically everywhere in this level. And that proves how you can still make things look unique even constrained to earlier updates. There's a reason people say limitations breed creativity. If this level was decorated like any other generic level, it wouldn't be as special, and I wish more people understood that. For the style it's going for, the effects are pretty good, especially in the sync parts, which are probably the parts most people remember this level for. In this part, you have to click the blue orbs to the song. Now, the words famous and infamous have different meanings, but they both apply here, because the sync in this part is kind of off. Okay, very off. You basically have to learn which orbs are late and which ones are early. The bad sync in this part is mainly because of rotated speed portals. If a speed portal is rotated, you can hit it in a different place every time, which messes with the music sync. Despite the sync being terrible in both parts, I actually fluked the second one, and that leads me onto my worst fail. If you were paying attention, I basically spoiled it earlier, but my worst fail on this level was 78, which is the very last click until the second sync part. This is kind of a dumb death since I basically fluked most of the second drop, but this was definitely a nerves death because I was shaking so much. And the hardest part of this level is 19 to 32. This part is unbelievably difficult compared to the rest of the level. If the rest of the level was balanced to the difficulty of this part, it would probably be harder than Sonic Wave, but since it's at the beginning, it's not that bad, and once you get past it, you have a good chance at the rest of the level. I'm gonna give this level a 9 out of 10. Since this level has an emotional connection to me, I love it more than I usually would. But it also just has really fun gameplay. If this truly is his last level, it's an amazing send-off, and I'm glad we got to see this level released.
Yeah, she's in love with the concept, as if we're all just how she imagined. Cause we're in love, I just don't know yet. Well, tell me how am I supposed to see the magic? Cause I don't believe in it no more. But I won't tell her, cause I always imagine it's easier if she thinks she won. So I'ma let her. And she said, I don't think I love you no more. You never seem to call me lately. Girl, I don't think you know me at all. Cause I never thought I'd have to say this. No, I don't love you, and I never did. Look at us burning down in flames for kicks. But just know, I'm not singing for your ex, oh. I'm just singing cause it's over. Yeah. Came and went like the summertime. Was that a sunset or sunrise? Looking back like where'd the time go? So much for trying to keep this moving slow. Cause I don't believe in her no more. But I remember how we talked shit like we knew what we wanted. And I still remember what she said. I don't think I love you no more. You never seem to call me lately. But I don't think she knew me at all. Cause I never thought I'd have to say this. But I'm no liar, and I never hid anything. You should have seen it coming to this. Just know, I'm not singing for an ex though. I'm just singing cause it's over. Yeah.
What? There's no way. Oh my god. There's no. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm up. Oh my god, there's no way. There's no way. 15. Oh my god. There's no way. There's no way that just happened. There's no fucking way that just happened. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
And I guess that's that. There are 3 main reasons why I made this video. The first reason is, I wanted to. I thought it would be a fun idea, and it definitely was. The second reason is I wanted this to be a tribute to my favorite creator, as a thanks for all he did for this community in the past 8 or so years. And the last reason is I wanted this video to serve as inspiration for anyone to push themselves past what they thought was possible like I did. Go try something you thought was impossible and you'll surprise yourself. You'll never know what you're capable of until you try it. I want to thank anyone who watched this video all the way through. I didn't originally plan for this video to be 2 hours, but this video took me more than a month to make and I had a blast making it. Despite my bad editing and terrible commentary voice, I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you did, because I'd love to keep making videos like this. If you have any more suggestions of creators I could beat every level of, let me know. Preferably ones with extreme demons that aren't list ready though. Anyways, bye. Conical Depression was my first Extreme Demon, and it was quite a jump, since my hardest before that was Necropolix. No it wasn't. Don't know why I said that. This level took me a bit more than 13,000 attempts and about a month to beat, which was the most amount of attempts I had ever spent on it. Dude. Which was the most amount of attempts I had ever Dude, why can't I say the sentence?